In 7 seconds, a 6 feet 5 inches karate champion with 15 years of undefeated competition discovered that everything he knew about fighting was incomplete. He threw 6 techniques. None of them landed. And when it was over, he folded his own black belt, placed it on a bench, and said 3 words no one in the room expected. But let's rewind. San Francisco, California. A private dojo in Japantown. October 22, 1971. Friday evening, 7 p.m. The dojo belongs to Master Kenji Hayashi, a 6th Dan Shotokan instructor who maintains one of the most respected traditional training halls on the West Coast. Tonight, 23 people are gathered inside. Local martial arts instructors, senior students, and a few curious outsiders who heard rumors about what is about to happen. The wooden floor gleams under fluorescent lights. The air smells of cedar polish and old sweat. The man everyone is waiting for is Victor Dalton. 6'5". 240 pounds. Undefeated Shotokan karate champion with a record of 38 consecutive tournament victories across the western United States. His front kick has been clocked by sports researchers at 47 miles per hour. His reverse punch generates over 900 pounds of force on impact. He has hospitalized 11 opponents. 3 of them never competed again. Dalton has been making statements in martial arts magazines for months. Statements about Bruce Lee specifically. He told Black Belt magazine that Bruce Lee's techniques were theatrical nonsense that would collapse against a real karate fighter. He told a San Francisco reporter that a man who weighs 135 pounds has no business teaching combat to anyone, regardless of how fast his hands move. Dalton's confidence is not baseless. He has earned it through 15 years of brutal training and competition. But confidence unchecked by humility becomes something else entirely. Bruce Lee is already inside when Dalton arrives. He is sitting on a wooden bench near the wall, reading a philosophy text, wearing black pants and a gray t-shirt. No GI, no belt. Reading glasses perched on his nose. He looks like someone who wandered in off the street. His body is completely still. The kind of stillness that comes not from relaxation but from total awareness. Dalton enters at exactly 7 o'clock, ducking the door frame. 3 students follow, carrying equipment bags, each wearing matching white GIs. Dalton wears a pristine GI with a black belt so worn the white threads show through. 15 years of victories woven into that fabric. He scans the room, finds Bruce, and stops. For one moment, something crosses his face. Not fear. Recognition. But the moment passes. His jaw sets. He walks directly to Bruce. Bruce removes his reading glasses. Folds them. Sets them down. Looks up. "So you're the famous Bruce Lee," Dalton says. His voice fills the room. "I expected someone bigger." Bruce says nothing. 3 seconds of silence that feel like 30. Dalton tries again. "I said you're smaller than I expected. What exactly are you going to demonstrate tonight?" Bruce stands slowly. The top of his head reaches Dalton's collarbone. Their eyes lock. Something shifts. Conversations stop. 23 people hold their breath. Bruce says quietly, "Would you like to find out?" Dalton grins. "Absolutely." Bruce outlines the terms. "You attack me. Use everything. I will not strike you. I will only move. If you land one clean technique in 60 seconds, you win." Dalton laughs. "I won't need 10. Subscribe and leave a comment, because the most important part of this story is still unfolding. The center of the dojo is cleared. 12 feet by 12 feet of polished hardwood. Bruce walks to the center. Stands naturally. Hands at his sides. No stance. No guard. He looks like a man waiting for a bus. Dalton drops into perfect Zenkutsu dachi. Lead hand extended, rear hand chambered. Classic Shotokan. Every line of his body aligned by 15 years of training. He looks exactly like what he is, a champion built for combat. Begin. Dalton closes the gap in 2 explosive steps. Front kick aimed at Bruce's midsection. Perfect chamber, perfect extension, perfect snap. It would crack ribs on most men. Bruce shifts offline. 4 inches. Just enough. Dalton's foot cuts empty air. He resets, attacks again. Ozuki, the lunging punch. His signature technique. 240 pounds behind a fist aimed at Bruce's face. Second one. Bruce's head moves. Just his head. A slip so small it seems like a trick of light. The fist passes close enough to move his hair. No contact. Second two. Reverse punch. Hips rotating with the power of 10,000 repetitions. Bruce steps inside it. Toward Dalton, not away. He passes under the arc and appears at Dalton's right flank. His open palm hovers 1 inch from Dalton's floating rib. Not touching. Just there. Second three. Dalton spins. Back fist. Fast and whipping. Bruce ducks by bending his knees exactly enough. As he rises, his index finger touches the underside of Dalton's chin. Light as a feather. A message: you are open. I am choosing not to hurt you. Dalton freezes for a fraction of a second. Second four. Pride overrides shock. Dalton launches a combination. Front kick, straight punch, roundhouse. 3 techniques in rapid succession. Bruce moves through them like smoke through a fence. Each technique finds nothing. Second 5. Dalton is breathing hard. Not from fatigue. From the realization that he cannot touch this man. That 15 years of training means nothing against someone who refuses to be where the attacks arrive. Bruce didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. Second 6. Dalton stops. Stares. Bruce has returned to his original position. Hands at sides. Breathing normally. Not a drop of sweat. Second 7. Bruce takes 1 step forward. His right hand rises slowly. No speed. No deception. His open palm moves toward Dalton's chest. Dalton sees it coming. Has time to block. Has every technique available to counter. But he does not move. Because the hand moves with such certainty that something deep in Dalton's nervous system recognizes it cannot be stopped. Not because it is fast. Because it is inevitable. Bruce's palm rests flat against Dalton's sternum. Gentle pressure. The pressure of a man leaning against a door. But Dalton feels it travel through his entire body. His ribs, his spine, his legs. His balance shifts against his will. 240 pounds of championship muscle made irrelevant by a palm placed at precisely the right point, at precisely the right angle, with precisely the right force. Bruce holds it for 1 second. Then removes his hand. 7 seconds. 23 witnesses. 6 techniques thrown. None landed. And a palm on a chest that controlled a giant with a whisper. The dojo is silent. Dalton does not move. His stance is gone. He is just standing there, processing the dismantling of everything he believed. He was not beaten. Not hurt. Something worse. He was shown, gently and irrefutably, that his understanding was incomplete. Bruce walks to the bench. Picks up his book and glasses. Returns to Dalton. Your karate is excellent, he says. But you trained in one dimension. You attack along straight lines because your system teaches straight lines. Everything you do is correct within your system. But what happens when you fight someone outside your system? He pauses. You cannot hit what you cannot predict. When the signals you train to recognize are absent, your responses have nothing to work with. Away from the cameras, Bruce made a choice no one expected. Dalton's voice is stripped of arrogance. What do I need to learn? Bruce smiles. No fixed style. I respond to what is happening in each moment. Efficiency. Directness. Economy of motion. Absorb what is useful. Reject what is useless. Add what is specifically your own. He hands Dalton the book. This is for you. Your karate is the foundation. Do not abandon it. But do not let it become your entire world. Dalton takes the book. Then he unties his black belt. Holds it in both hands. This belt means I mastered a system. You showed me that mastering a system is not the same as understanding combat. He folds it carefully and places it on the bench. Tonight I am a white belt. His students stare at their master. The undefeated champion, folding his black belt, declaring himself a beginner. Bruce picks up the belt. Hands it back. Keep this. You earned it. A white belt mind does not require a white belt. It requires only willingness to learn. Wear your black belt and train with a beginner's hunger. That is the highest form of mastery. Dalton puts it back on. Then bows. Deep. Formal. From 6'5" to 5'7". From 240 pounds to 135. Bruce bows back. Equal depth. Because Bruce Lee does not accept submission. He accepts partnership. But what followed would stay with everyone who witnessed it, forever. Bruce teaches for 2 more hours. Joint locks. Sensitivity drills. Centerline theory. Dalton participates as a student, asking questions with the hunger of a man who discovered the mountain he climbed was just the foothills. As people leave, Dalton approaches Bruce. Will you train me? I'll come to Los Angeles. Whatever it takes. Bruce looks at him. My school in Chinatown. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Bring your karate. Bring your questions. Leave your assumptions at the door. Dalton says quietly. I'm sorry for what I said in those interviews. About your size. I was speaking from ignorance. Bruce's response is immediate. You were speaking from confidence in your training. That is not ignorance. That is loyalty to your art. The ignorance was believing your art was the only art. Tonight you learned otherwise. They shake hands. Dalton's enormous hand engulfing Bruce's. The same handshake as earlier, but everything different. The first was a contest. This one is a contract. Share and subscribe. Some stories deserve to be remembered. Over the next 2 years, Victor Dalton trains with Bruce Lee 11 times. Each session transforms his understanding. He incorporates trapping into his karate. Adds Jeet Kune Do footwork to his tournament strategy. His competition record continues, 12 more victories, but the way he wins changes. Less reliance on size. More efficiency. Opponents who studied film of his earlier fights find themselves facing a different fighter entirely. When people ask about the change, Dalton tells the same story. A night in San Francisco. A man he outweighed by over 100 pounds. 7 seconds that revealed the difference between mastering a system and understanding combat. A folded black belt and a book in a palm that controlled 240 pounds with the pressure of a whisper. He always ends it the same way. I walked into that dojo believing I was too big to lose. Bruce Lee showed me I was too rigid to win. 7 seconds. Not to defeat me, because he never tried to defeat me. 7 seconds to open a door I didn't know existed. The book Bruce gave him sits on Dalton's desk for the rest of his career. Dog-eared, underlined, the margins filled with notes about the night a small man from Hong Kong placed a palm on his chest and changed everything. San Francisco, 1971. A private dojo. 23 witnesses. 7 seconds that no camera recorded, that no journalists reported, that exist only in the memories of those who were there. 7 seconds that proved what Bruce Lee spent his life demonstrating. Real power is not measured in pounds. True speed is not how fast you move but how precisely you arrive. The greatest victory does not destroy an opponent. It transforms him. A folded black belt. A book passed between hands. And a lesson that echoes through every training hall where someone big looks at someone small and makes the mistake of believing size determines outcome. Bruce Lee did not fight Victor Dalton. He taught him. Without raising his voice. Without throwing a single strike. And that is what makes Bruce Lee immortal. Not the speed of his hands. The depth of his understanding. Not the power of his strikes. The precision of his mercy. 7 seconds. 23 witnesses. 1 lesson. Forever. Years later, a journalist tracked down one of the 23 witnesses. An elderly martial arts instructor living in Oakland. He asked the old man what he remembered most about that night. The instructor was quiet for a long time. Then he said something the journalist did not expect. "I don't remember the techniques. I don't remember who stood where or what Bruce said afterward. What I remember is the book." That worn, dogged philosophy text that Bruce carried into the dojo like it mattered more than any weapon. He gave it away that night. Handed it to a man who had insulted him publicly for months. Not as a lesson. Not as a trophy. As a gift. That is what I remember. That a man who could have humiliated the biggest karate champion on the West Coast chose instead to give him a book. The journalist asked if he ever saw Dalton again. Once, the old man said. At a seminar in 1985. Dalton was teaching. He had the book on a table beside him. Still dogged. Still underlined. But now the margins were full. His own notes. His own philosophy. His own path. Bruce gave him an empty page that night. Dalton spent his whole life filling it. That is the real 7 seconds. Not the ones on the dojo floor. The ones that never stopped.